Assalamualaikum. Today, we would like to share about our financial ratio analysis that involve the MAXIS and REDTONE company.
So, this is our team members.
Introduction. Many businesses that perform well in financial analysis are listed in Malaysia. However, our team decided to focus on the telecommunication industry for this project. Many businesses provide telecommunication service. But according to our panel, MAXIS and REDTONE are two of the best because of the way these companies market and advertise their products in relation to service they offer.
Let's start with MAXIS. MAXIS Communication Berhad is one of the largest telecommunication company that provide communication services in Malaysia. The company is listed on Bursa Malaysia under the main market. MAXIS coverage reach all over Malaysia from Perlis to Sabah and Sarawak. Core activities of MAXIS such as prepaid call plan, which is hotlink, monthly subscription plan, global roaming, residential landline services, broadband internet, 4G LTE services for prepaid and postpaid, and lastly IDD, which is international direct dial in selected countries like Singapore, Indonesia and Thailand. Strength of MAXIS. MAXIS products have strong brand recognition in the communication services industry. Strategic alliance and partnership help MAXIS to capture new markets. Weakness of MAXIS. Number 1, small employee base compared to competitors such as Digi, U-Mobile and Celcom. Limited coverage area and market share due to limited worldwide presence.
The REDTONE company has grown to become a leading provider of integrated telecommunications and digital infrastructure service for organizations. Well-respected homegrown brand founded in 1996, REDTONE was listed on the Malaysia Stock Exchange, Malaysian Exchange of Securities Dealing and Automated Quotation (MAS DAQ), now known as ACE Market in January 2004, and has been a subsidiary of the Jolly Corporation Berhad since 2015.
Trend analysis. Under trend analysis, there are 4 type ratios including liquidity, activity, leverage and profitability. Let's move to liquidity ratio. There are 2 ratios in liquidity ratio, which is current and quick ratio. Current ratio is measure whether a firm has enough resources to meet its short-term obligations. In many cases, a creditor will consider a high current ratio because high current ratio indicates that the company is more likely to pay the creditor back. Formula for current ratio is current asset divided by current liabilities. As we can see, the highest current ratio are 2020 and 2022, which is 0.63. Quick ratio. Quick ratio measure a company's capacity to pay short-term obligation without relying on least liquid asset. In general, the higher the quick ratio, the greater the company's liquidity. So, 2020 has the highest quick ratio, which is 0.63. Quick ratio measure a company's capacity to pay short-term obligation without relying on least liquid asset. In general, the higher the quick ratio, the greater the company's liquidity. So, 2020 has the highest quick ratio, which is 0.63.
The higher is the better. So, in 2021 has the higher, which is 10.06. And the average collection period measures the average days taken by the company to collect credit sales and account receivables. The shorter is the better. Fixed asset turnover measures the company efficiency in using only fixed asset to produce goods or products for sales. In 2019 is the higher fixed asset turnover in this company. That is 1.89.
Next is leverage ratio. There are 2 things from leverage ratio, which is debt ratio and time interest earned. Debt ratio indicates the percentage of the firm's debt financed by firm's creditors, and financial institutions. We prefer a company with lower debt ratio as it will reduce the potential loss. Based on diagram above, the lowest percentage of debt ratios of MAXIS company is 63.19% in 2018. For the time interest earned, it is measured the ability of a firm to pay the interest charge applied on the debt used. From the figure, the firm's interest earned decreased a few from 2018 to 2019, which was from 7.09 times to 5.34 times and continues to decrease in 2020 to 2021, which was from 4.79 times to 4.73 times, while in 2022 it increased to 5.14 times. The last ratio for the trend analysis part is profitability. Profitability ratio is used to determine a company's profitability or a certain level of revenue, asset, and equity. On the firm's overall operating outcome, it is the combined result of liquidity, activity, and leverage management. First, we go through to gross profit margin. Based on the diagram, the highest gross profit margin is in 2020 with 42.59%, and the lowest percentage is in 2022 with 38.76%. A higher ratio indicates a lower cost of goods sold relative to sale, which is preferable. Next, for the net profit margin, from the figure we can see that the firm's net profit margin is all positive percentage. It indicates that the firm have the ability to generate profit for distribution to holders. Next, we go through the operating profit margin in 2018. It indicates highest percentage with 13% and the lowest percentage with 22.96% in 2022. Higher ratio are preferable because it implies a lower cost structure and higher earnings. Then, for the return on asset, the higher percentage for MAXIS company is 8.99% in 2018. The higher ratio are desired since they can attract outside. Lastly is return on common equity. As we can see in the table, for MAXIS company, it indicates greatest percentage, which is 24.19% in 2018, while the lowest one is 18.54% in 2020. Higher ratios is preferable since they represent a higher income pickup to investor.
Liquidity ratio. The current ratio is used to measure the company's ability to pay short-term liabilities by using liquid fund. When current ratio is higher than 1, the better the company liquidity is. The table shows that REDTONE have better liquidity, which is 3.29 times, meanwhile MAXIS has a lower liquidity, which is 0.63 times. Next is quick ratio. Quick ratio is used to measure the company. Next is activity ratio. Under activity ratio is account receivable turnover. It is used to measure the company's ability to collect debts or credit sales from customer. The higher the account receivable turnover, the more effective is the company in collecting debts from customer. The table shows MAXIS have a higher ratio, which is 7.98, meanwhile REDTONE is 3.53. Therefore, MAXIS is more effective in collecting debt than REDTONE. Next is average collection period. Average collection period is used to measure average day taken for the company to collect debt credit sales. The shorter the period, the better the company ability to collect the debt. The table shows that MAXIS only need 45 days, which is better than REDTONE, who needs 102 days to collect debt. However, both company collection period are longer than the standard operation procedure, which is 30 days. Next is fixed asset turnover. It is used to measure the company efficiency in using only fixed assets to produce goods or product for sales. The higher the fixed asset turnover, the better the effective the company is in using fixed asset to generate sales. Based on the table, both MAXIS and REDTONE is higher than 1, which is 1.74 and 2.61 respectively. However, REDTONE is more efficient in using fixed asset only to produce goods than MAXIS. Next is leverage ratio. Under leverage ratio is debt ratio. Debt ratio is used to measure the percentage of total assets that are financed by debt. Debt ratio indicates the amount of debt in the company financial structure. The higher the debt ratio, the higher is the company risk. Thus, the lower the debt ratio, the better. Based on the table, MAXIS have high debt ratio, which is 72.35%, compared to REDTONE, which is 25.03%. MAXIS company is very risk of bankruptcy. Next is time interest earned. Time interest earned is to measure the company's ability to pay or serve its financial interest expense applied on the debt used. The higher the time interest earned, the better, as it indicates higher company's ability to pay the interest. As the table shows, that MAXIS have 5.14 times to pay the interest, meanwhile REDTONE is 6.18 times, which is better than MAXIS' ability to pay interest.
Next, I will compare the profitability between REDTONE company and MAXIS company. For gross profit margin, the higher the gross profit margin, the better is the company in generating gross profit. Based on the graph, REDTONE is better at generating gross profit because it has high gross profit margin, which is 62.56%, while MAXIS gross profit margin is only 38.76%, which make them slow in generating gross profit compared to REDTONE. For net profit margin, the higher the net, the better or more effective is the company in generating net profit. Based on the graph, MAXIS has low net profit, which is 12.06%, compared to REDTONE, who have a higher net profit generated from sales after deducting expenses, which is 25.61%. For operating profit margin, the higher the operation profit margin, the more effective is the company generating profit after deducing operation expenses. Based on the graph, REDTONE is more effective at generating the profit by 36.41% compared to MAXIS, which is slightly low by 22.96%. For return on asset, the higher the return on asset, the more effective is the company in generating net profit using total assets. Based on the graph, REDTONE has the ability to generate net profit by using its total asset by 13.58% compared to MAXIS, which is only 5.12% only. Lastly, for return on common equity, the higher the return on equity, the better company in generating the net profit using total equity. From the graph, both MAXIS and REDTONE has the ability to generate net profit using total equity, which is 18.54% and 18.12% respectively. They only have small difference by 0.42%. There are many ways for both companies to improve their current financial position. One of them is increasing their sales and revenues. Business may concentrate on growing their customer base, upgrading their market strategies, introducing new goods or services, and exploring new market. Next, they can explore new sources for revenue. Next, They can enhance financial planning and forecasting. Strong financial planning and forecasting procedures can assist business in discovering opportunities, predicting obstacles, and making smart financial decisions. Accurate forecasting provides proactive resource management and aids in coordinating financial goals with operational plans. After that, they can strengthen their risk management. Companies can avoid future financial disasters by implementing effective risk management measures. This involves recognizing and controlling risks caused by operational disruption, market condition, regulatory changes, and cybersecurity threats. And lastly, they can always ensure customer loyalty. Companies must put maintaining customer first because getting new customers can be expensive. Businesses can improve customer loyalty and lower customer turnover by providing extraordinary customer service, putting reward programs into place, and building strong relationships.